Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 54. Well, I was a bit impatient at this point, and decided to just go for it. As the title suggested, this video is now using the beta branch, and we have full access to the water and traffic management aspects of the game. As I've said a couple times, I will deal with the water and sewage systems as a long-term project. Today, we will only place down the substations, and nothing else. The majority of our time will be split between dealing with traffic issues, and with the rebuilding of a couple industries that require a direct water connection, like the alumina plant that I've been holding back on until now. We will also rebuild our chemical factory, since the mod I've been using has been updated, and it now has water connections. The last time I tried it, it was still using the old version. But the main focus for today is the traffic. We will be struggling in a couple places, trying to find an optimal setup. So, first things first, let's enable the complex traffic system. I will deal with the water a bit later in the episode. At least the traffic setting doesn't require us to reload the game. During my tests, this was the first obvious problematic intersection. If we left it as is, it would become clogged up in a month or two. The first fix we needed to apply was the merging of those two neighboring nodes into a single intersection. And as a good measure, I also added giveaway signs to the bus station driveway and to the road coming in from the bottom of the screen. But we will fine-tune this place a bit more. Next on the agenda was of course the roundabout. We only need to add priority to the traffic already inside the circle, and disallow overtaking if the vehicles are relatively close to the entrance. Of course, ever since we managed to delegate the vast majority of the traffic that used to go through it to the trains, it's not nearly as busy as it used to be. So, we cannot really measure if the signs really made any difference. But I'd like to think that they would have. Let's try to fine-tune this place a bit more. I tried to see if a traffic light would be a better alternative, but decided against it. Also, the devs seem to have listened to our cries for help, and made the node removal on roads much more reliable. As long as there are no vehicles already on the problematic segments, it's a simple double click with the waypoint tool, and the pesky nodes are gone. Again, just like with train tracks, it only works if there are no vehicles present on the two road segments the node in question divides in two. If they are clear, the node will disappear. I do not have OCD, but finally having a reliable tool to remove these nodes really brightened my day. Let's continue babysitting the tracks around Bobinski. I am glad to say, the construction side of things will be finished today. Oh, right. We accidentally set this construction crossing to be upgraded. Let's fix it, so the track layers don't waste time on it. Since we have both the tower cranes, and enough open-hull trucks built, we can load up these immobile giants, and drive them over to their new home in Bobinski. The driveways are still not finished, so they are stuck in the car factory for the time being, but they will be off fairly soon. For now, I decided that merging the intersections was enough, so I got rid of the priority signs. This is how it will finish this episode, and it will work more or less okay, but I think I might have found a better solution after I stopped recording, so I will try to implement it in the next video. Next, let's start replacing some of the outdated factory buildings. The fabric manufactories will require a direct water connection, so let's start with those. It seems the old crops import lines are still active, even though their trucks have already been sold. Let's delete them, they are no longer necessary. Let's clean up the old road and footpath connections, and replace the old factories with the new ones. Need to move it just a smidge. There we go, all the connections are back in. I will realize the lack of footpath later on, don't worry. As for this factory, we need to deal with the power poles, I'm afraid. No big deal, it only goes to the secondary substations, helping out the power plant to supply this area. Since the factories are not doing anything right now, it's not a problem. We only have one more fabric factory active in the Republic, right next to the car assembly plant. This one is a bit easier to deal with. Once it's built, we only need to reset the number of workers to 10, and it's all back to normal. This is the CO where we told the tower cranes to be delivered. Let's wait for the driveway to be finished, and we can see the new tilting truck bed animations in action. And the flatbeds are off with their tall cargo. Let's make sure all four are on their way. Okay, the driveways are finished, and every CO in the country are hard at work on these fabric factories. Oh right, I forgot about the chemical transfer truck. Let's send it to the road depot for now, so it doesn't block the way of other vehicles, trying to deliver the construction materials for the factory connections. Let's take a quick look around the busier areas, and make sure there are no massive traffic issues we need to deal with. So far so good. Okay, all 3 factories are now under the supervision of every CO we have, except for the emergency one in the old border outpost. And it seems the cranes arrived safe and sound. The next building we need to replace are the concrete plants. Once we have the water systems enabled for good, they will also need to have a direct connection. Let's replace the one in Lukovo as well. I was about to replace the one in Adumsky, but then I remembered that we should leave at least one active at any given time. But the one in Bobinsky isn't active yet, so we can replace that one. Since the helipad was linked, we will also need to rebuild that too. I will deal with the helipad later. I believe that is all we need to finish the tracks around Bobinsky. We can enter every branch, and since we are only doing the catenaries at this point, they will simply continue building until they reach the end. So we should be okay from now on. Let's replace the alumina plant now. No need to delay any longer. Oh right, we need this footpath for people to reach the second fabric factory. Although I think they might be close enough to walk the last bit on the gravel roads, but might as well add it back in. We have more open hole trucks available, so let's send some of the other stuff over. I think these pavers are light enough to fit on the KAMAZ trucks. It seems the asphalt rollers are too weighty though. All I knew for sure was that the bulldozers were definitely too heavy. It seems I managed to catch one of the old open wagons as it arrived back to the rail distribution center. Let's slow things down, so I don't lose it again. At this point, only one of these left. After I manage to catch it, every wagon running on the network will be the newer, higher capacity models for all cargo types. Alright, with these two factories back in business, let's reassign the different deliveries, and we can start making clothes again. It seems the new traffic is starting to interfere with the coal power plant. It will shut down a couple more times before the episode is out, but it won't be a big issue, since the oil plant will manage to keep the more important buildings powered. Anyways, let's add the helipad back in for the concrete plant. Oh right, we need to add the factories back into the train platform, so workers know they can work there. Priority is still weighted heavily in favor of the refinery though, we need to ensure the continuity of our fuel supply. It seems everything's back to normal around here. 2 down, 1,000,000 more to go. And the third one is also finished. As I have said, we only need to reset the number of workers to 10, since we only need a small amount of fabric made. These bulldozers are too heavy for the Kamaz trucks, so might as well send them over on their own. And let's do the same for the pavement rollers. They will cause a bit of a traffic jam in Electrograd later, but nothing we cannot handle. Okay, no point delaying this one any longer either. Let's deal with the chemical plant. Let's make sure there is no traffic inside, and let's get started. Let's make sure all the resources are still available for it. It has the oil, crops, wood, and gravel. And it can access the external warehouse. I think it's ready to be built. We have the second coal power plant shut down. We should focus on sorting out the traffic around Mikaylovia and Electrograd, so the buses can get to the back of Adumsky on time. This intersection is where I will struggle the most. It has ridiculously heavy traffic, so it will take a bit of finagling to sort out. Unfortunately, they are just a bit too far away to merge, so they will have to be treated separately. What we can do for the one on the right, is to treat the 3 roads on the top as the low priority turns, and give the bridge and the one going to the right as the main thoroughfare. Please excuse me while I fiddle about with this new interface a bit. I am used to the traffic manager mod in city skylines not requiring confirmations. There we go. One down. We might as well sort out the main road in Electrograd, giving priority to the road with the most traffic. Now, this one we will deal with in a bit. Since the concrete plant in the old border outpost is finished, let's set it up again. And that's that. The Lukovo one is also done. It only requires to be assigned to the COs, the materials are dealt with by external storages. And we had a pickup already, so it's working fine. It seems the train tracks around Bobinsky are finished. I only see construction signs on the line going towards the new city. While we drove by the Mikaylovia heating plant, I remembered to check if the devs added any water connections to the building since the last time I tried my hands on this patch. And no, they didn't. I find that an interesting choice. I would have expected a colossal water heater to require a dedicated water line going to it. Oh well, I guess it's a closed loop or something. Anyways, we had a bit of a traffic jam in front of the train station, so let's add some more giveaway signs around the city, so the more busy roads get priority. And might as well remove some of the nodes while we're messing around with the roads. Good thing we added that external chemical storage. We have more than enough saved up to tide us over this drop in production. Again, a traffic jam. Let's keep adding signs. I even add give way signs to intersections that don't really need them. Still, better safe than sorry, right? Things seem to be clearing up. While things are going perfectly fine in Kirkimov, we are on such a roll, so let's place signs here as well. I'm really happy to see that the game is pretty intelligent at determining which road to give priority to. In most cases, it's likely just a matter of giving paved roads precedence over gravel and dirt, but even on areas where we only have asphalt to deal with, it still seemed to recognize the difference between a street and driveways. Brooklyn looks kind of sad without some road signs. Again, it's going perfectly fine. Still, why not? This asphalt road, however, adding some give way signs on it makes a bit more sense, since it's supposed to be a main thoroughfare. Okay. We are past the halfway point in the episode, and I was itching to get started with the water and sewage infrastructure. Let's enable it, and start placing the first few buildings for it. As I've said, we will only place the water substations today. Let's start with the old farm, and work our way around the Republic. For industrial areas, I try to use as few stations as I can, but it will not always be possible. In my tests, Mutograd was just about managing with 3 substations. Just to be safe, I'll add 4. Kirkomov should be doable with a single one. Squeezing it into the only viable spot, however, was a bit fiddly. Leningrad was pretty straightforward. And so was Lukovo. Especially since with some careful placement, we managed to cover both Lukovo and Udigrad with 1 station. Thanks to the coal mine, Ramosov was a 2-station affair. I wasn't sure if the Satsumograd firehouse really needed this, but just to be on the safe side I added 1. Again, it's kind of interesting how the water heating plants don't need a dedicated connection, but I'm not going to complain. Autozov was also easy with a single station. The same goes for our dedicated livestock farm, as well as Gemstonia. Alexandergrad will require revisiting. While editing the episode, I noticed that I didn't take the mines into consideration. There are areas I didn't bother plumbing just yet, like the new city, the new chemical industry, or the airport. They are still very much work in progress. But Bobinsky was another single station area. This weird graphical glitch threw me for a loop, pun kind of intended. After the episode was over, I came back to it, and it's just a glitch on the driveway, maybe something to do with the way the roads are done with the new snapping and ruler-based system. A simple rebuilding will fix it. Altogether, Pankivsk required 3 substations to cover everything. Although I'm not sure the bauxite mines are strictly necessary, since only excavators work there, no actual citizens will ever go. Same as with Satsumigrad, I'll add one for the Bufalovsk firehouse, just in case. Adumsky is another place we need to revisit. I don't think the coal mine has coverage. Apart from the chemical factory's dedicated connection, a single substation managed to service the entirety of Electrograd. And it seems I managed to catch the area just when the trees ran out. Time to replant. I do wish the woodcutters would reforest their area of operation on their own. The last place we need to deal with is Mikaylovia. As far as I could tell, we managed to find everything, apart from a couple mines, but those are already on the to-do list. I didn't test anything for this city, so I am fairly certain I placed more substations than necessary. I tried to use the list of areas to check if I missed anything, sorted by the number of buildings, but I gave up after a while. I know I covered the populated areas, the rest can be dealt with later if necessary. Anyways, we will leave it at that for now. Let's disable the system, and let the COs build what we place down. I think the next thing we will do are the water towers. After that we can do the treatment facilities, and do the water extraction last. Once all that is done, and I made sure they actually work between episodes, only then will we start working on the sewage side of things. While checking on the buildings to make sure they don't start complaining about water, I did notice massive unemployment in the second Mikaylovia district. That's because the chemical factory is being rebuilt, and the vast majority of workers from that place are employed there. Here we go. The foundations are done, and now we have 1 million trucks incoming with materials and machinery. This will cause some massive issues at the Electrograd entrance. The intersection is starting to get busy. Once the third phase of construction begins, and even more materials start pouring in from Adumsky, that's when it starts hitting the fan. For now, I gave primary access for the Electrograd traffic, so the buses are less likely to be stopped. Here we go. Get ready for some massive tailbacks towards Adamski on that intersection. Just look at the number of vehicles incoming. Crazy. Apart from the water substation, Bobinski is basically finished. We only need the vehicles and it's ready for business. And the traffic jam has begun. And this is just the start. Of course, if we tell one road to give way, and the traffic is constant on the priority roads, things will get messy. As a temporary stopgap measure, we can add traffic lights, so everything has a chance to get through. This first attempt will fail, since all roads on the intersection need to be paved, and we have a dirt connection going to that high voltage switch. We had a couple trucks manage to go through, but not enough. Just get rid of that dirt road, and add that traffic light already. The lights will be divided like the original setup was. The main bus roads will get priority with a 20 seconds long green light, and the construction vehicles will have a 10 seconds window to go through. The line is still getting bigger. Let's see how things go with a 30 to 20 second split. In the meantime, the alumina plant got built. Good. And here we had another power cut on the coal plant. Things should clear up once the construction is finished. With the Adamski vehicles out of the way, we should go back to the road sign setup, so the buses stop piling up. Okay, the materials are all delivered. Now we only have about 1,000 buses en route. At last, it's finished. The commuter buses should be able to start spacing themselves again without much interference, and once that's done, things should run more smoothly. Let's add the rebuilt chemical plant to the local distribution network again, and it's all back to normal. And we have a truck already going to pick some up for the electric component factory. Good times. Alright, let's see what's in store for episode 55. One thing we need to take care of is the water substations for the mines in Alexandrograd and Adumsky. But that one can be dealt with when we re-enable the water system for building the water towers. For a more immediate project, we can deal with the rebuilding of the new city's railroad junction. I've been testing out a couple ideas, some of which came from you guys, and I will try to put them into practice in the next video. Another thing is the starting up of Bobinsky. I stopped checking on the vehicles after a little bit in this episode, so we should have more of them ready by now. Apart from those guys, we only need to add the rail signals, set up the deliveries, create a temporary commuter bus line from Mikaylovia, at least until the new city is finished, and it's ready to go. After that, we should start dividing the construction yards into separate action groups. Right now, we have the road COs in a single group, but it's starting to become silly that we are still calling on Lukovo, this deep into the heartland. Anyways, I hope you liked the video. If you did, you can support me on Ko-fi, for which you can find a link in the description. If you are not the donating type, that is fine too, you can still support me by leaving a like, or subscribing to the channel, which just might motivate me to make more. Until then, see you later.